Hello world, Life Through a Lens here. And for this video, it's very different than what I initially wanted to roll out. This is my new segment. This is more of commentary. This is kind of like meant for those moments where I don't feel like being on camera, or I guess to put it in an easier way, I'm simply just too lazy to, get in front of the camera, and then after recording, I just go through the whole editing process, yada yada yada. You guys get the point. This is going to be episode 1 of the new segment I'm going to call Vocal Box. Now, I don't know if the name will stick. I kind of like Vocal Box, but at the same time, I feel like there might be better names for it. So if you guys got any better names, please let me know down in the comments. I am open to any sort of ideas. Right now, I'm just rolling with the name Vocal Box because I feel like it's, I don't know, it sounds very, very suiting. But anyways, now to get into the nitty gritty. So, what's happening to the project? What is happening to this so-called creative, passionate project that I have been hinting at? Now, granted, I didn't hint at it too much, but when I did, it definitely didn't go unnoticed. As you may know, I was working on a project, and the big question, I'm not sure if any of you guys are really asking, but I'm sure it's probably out there, is it canceled? I was supposed to roll out a potential teaser for it, but some of you, if you've paid attention closely, have noticed that's not the case, and I've actually said that months ago. Now, in reality, I really wanted to work towards getting a teaser out, but unfortunately I didn't have enough of the project done to really present a teaser. I mean, I guess I still could have anyways, but I wanted to do more of the project so that I can actually do a full-fledged trailer or some form of presentation. Obviously that's not the case here. Now, is it canceled? Is it shelved? That is to be determined. In hindsight, I would like to work on it and eventually have it done by the end of this winter going into spring. But from what's been going on in my life, it really has been a very difficult path trying to stay on it. But I'm hoping at some point I'll get back into it, or at least do something similar, because trust me when I say this, I really wanted to get this channel going. I really wanted to get amped up. It just really wasn't, I guess, favorable at the time. Now, I'm not going to get into things heavily. If anything, I don't really want to get too personal, so I'm going to keep this surface level. I'm sure a lot of us in the world deal with this, so it's not really all that uncommon. But to, I guess, put it out there so you guys get a rough idea for what's been going on with me, pretty much it's been a long battle with depression. It has been long and it has been quite difficult for me. Luckily, I'm at a more stable and strong standpoint, but for the past few months since that last video, it really hasn't been the case. It's been very, very difficult, and I really, really needed to take a needed yet unscheduled and immediate hiatus. I know I haven't really gotten a full start on this YouTube channel, and I know I haven't really gotten a full start into what I've had planned out, this whole rollout I wanted for this year. But hopefully going into next year that can change. Now, mind you, I am still in the midst of it a little bit. I'm doing better. I'm doing what it takes to actually heal, but as of right now, it may still be a little iffy as to when I push out videos, when I, do this, that, and the third. But eventually I do want to start recording videos again, like vlogs and stuff. And I do want to really, really work on this project, or at least side projects I have planned. Speaking of side projects, I can probably speak on this because this one is kind of shelved, but maybe in the future I'll pick up on it again. Funny enough, I wanted to do some sort of horror-based content, whether it be an ARG or it be a short film, something along the lines of that throughout October. But because of this long battle of depression, this long, serious battle with mental health, it hasn't really been the case. I haven't gotten a start on it, and if anything, I had the lack of motivation to do so. I've lacked so much motivation, and as far as my creative mindset, it was hardly present. At some point, it just all kind of just faded away from me. So the whole idea of creating this like horror-based project ended up getting shelved. As much as I really, really wanted to do so, it ended up being shelved. Because then, eventually, when I was at a little more stable point, my mind kind of just raced and said, what about the fact that it's nearly the end of this month? It'll probably take me like a week to a couple weeks tops, maybe even majority of the month to even get it fully done, to get it worked out, get it filmed, and then get the editing done. So seeing as I haven't even gotten a start, not even on the drawing board, I kind of just said, you know what? Hands up in the air. I'm done trying. I'm done even thinking about the idea, brainstorming. So I scrapped the whole idea of making a horror-based video or video series. Maybe one day I'll pick up on it again, but as of right now, it hasn't really seemed to be the case for me. But apart from that side project, I've also thought of skits. Now, I don't really see myself as a funny person. I'm not one to really come up with all these like funny ideas for videos, but I have thought about taking a crack shot at it. I don't think it would be the best, but it's worth a shot just to kind of dip my toes into something new for me. But I've also kind of scrapped that idea. I mean, not really scrapped, but it's on hold. I don't know if I still want to do skits, maybe for shorter formed content. But as far as like short films, series, anything of that nature, I'm not going to be having an on-running skit series. But for the real juicy stuff, I was working on this big project over the course of this year. I want to say I've started this project since the summer. Realistically, I've been writing since last winter, now that we're also coming into this year's winter. So last winter, going into spring, and then some point throughout summer, I was just mainly writing. I was at the drawing board, kind of figuring out how I wanted to approach this project. What's the beginning? What's the middle? What's the end? And by far, I've came up with maybe 3 different versions. So now it's on to kind of the 4th version, and it's really, really altering. Because originally, and this is still kind of a debate for me or a dilemma, it's either I take the short form, which is just going straight up short film, or going with a series. Because then if I went the series route, I could do it episode by episode. It's an episodic type situation. So in between each episode, I can just work out how I want to approach the next episode until the end. But then if I do a short film, all I have to worry about is the A to B, and then just drop it as a whole versus episodic. But I feel like episodic might be resourceful on my end, as it gives me a grace period to make corrections, to redo shots, to redo lines, so on and so forth, versus doing a short film where it's like, in my mind, I have a ideal endpoint or due date, and that's where I have to push. So in that way, it really limits the amount of mistakes, the amount of errors I make, which will probably be the challenge behind that. So right now I'm just kind of in that dilemma. I'm also in the whole dilemma as to whether or not I want to just scrap it. But seeing as my motivation for creativity is coming back, that might not be the case. I might not scrap it, and I might start working on it again, at least while I still have this creative motivation. But apart from all of that, this is pretty much the whole new segment. It's commentary based. I'll probably throw up some gameplay in the background. I'll probably throw up, pictures I may have taken over time, little short video clips from outside of the internet, kind of day-to-day stuff, maybe stuff for say work, or maybe just adventures I've been on, things of that nature, while I get to just sit here and talk to you guys. This is kind of a alternative means of documentation and kind of just linking up with you guys for a moment. Sure, I may not be on the camera, you might not see a face, but at least there's a voice to be heard versus just dead silence like it's been for the past few months. So, all in all, this is probably where I'm going to be doing things for a good moment. I'll probably just be recording this way, stockpiling maybe, and then that way you guys still have content from me, whilst in the meantime I get to work on whatever creative project I have in mind, or perhaps just film, vlog. But until the moment I pick up the camera, it's probably just gonna be this, and then in the background some sort of video game footage. So pretty much like any other commentary channel, except this one actually vlogs for a handful of the time versus sitting at the computer and recording. And speaking of recording, I don't know how long this is gonna last because my computer is actually about to die. Right now it's on its grace period, granting me a little more time to record. But I think I'm gonna try to allot time to record stuff like this, to either record another episode for Vocal Box or vlog or whatever may be the case, just anything creative. I might allot some time, like maybe a certain day. That way at least I have a time and place to do something, and then whenever I do get around to it, I'll push it out. But at least I'll be able to create something, just something, versus feeling like, okay, this is the day I want to do it, push it out on the same day. Like, no, this could be in advance, or it could be day of. It's a either or type scenario versus, all right, record something today, edit it by the end of tonight, push it out the next day, or okay, record this, edit it, push it out within the time frame of a couple hours. Like, no, this is a case where I can record maybe even a week to months prior and then push it out much later. So it might be a little spontaneous, it might be a little all over the place, but at least it gives you guys some form of content from me, especially commentary based. I mean, who knows, if I keep rolling with this, maybe I'll start bringing in some interesting topics, kind of how I wanted to do with the vlogging. So maybe in place of doing sit down discussions, maybe this is what I can do. I can just come up with a topic and then discuss it through this way. Not to mention, it'll probably make it easier on me because then I can just look through notes and not have to worry about cutting through footage of me scrolling through something. I can just record while also having my notes on the side, which, I mean, right now I have no notes. This is very much so impromptu. This is just whatever's on the mind. And I think that's the nice part about this kind of segment too. Anything that is on the mind, I can just speak about it for however long. Like right now, this recording has gone on for 15 or so minutes. So the fact that I can come up with that much material offhand is really, really good for this kind of form of content. So this segment can be considered, could be comprised of nonsense, or it can be comprised of an actual topic, an actual subject. Like, for example, maybe I want to discuss about science. Maybe I can just dedicate one whole episode to science. I am a science nerd, as if that wasn't obvious from how I look. I might insert a picture here. You know what? Yeah, editor me, insert a picture here of me. Just any picture. Please, nothing embarrassing. Or it can even be of recent events. Anything recent that I've spotted within an article I can discuss. That's kind of what this segment is for, is just to speak my mind or to speak on topics during a time when I don't feel like being on camera. Because one thing I can say about me, as much as it seems like I enjoy the camera presence, which don't get me wrong, I do, that's not the case every single time. I do get very, very self-conscious, and I do sometimes get a little nervous as to how I appear on camera. So that comfort isn't always present for me. But, you know, it doesn't stop me from trying. Like, I can almost guarantee you at least 20% of the time within the past couple of videos, there was probably some sort of nervousness or discomfort being on camera. But what matters to me is the outcome versus the whole process. Like, for a moment, it seems a little embarrassing, it seems a little nerve-wracking, but then once it's done, once I get to see the full retrospect of it, it's not as nerve-wracking, it's not as worrisome, because it's like, all right, it's done, whatever. I try my best not to overanalyze as well during the whole editing process, because I do tend to do that. I've kind of noticed that during my time, you know, doing these vlogs, chopping it up and everything. And then I'll probably even be the same way with this recording too for my audio. So that's fun. Not to mention I've also taken note of that behavior during my quote-unquote creative periods. So there's going to be times where I might overanalyze, but I'm going to try my best not to do that, because that's also what can cause nervousness for me. So, you know, a nice thing too, from what I've heard in the past from people, is that I do really have like a podcast-ish type of voice. So if this is more soothing to you versus me being up here and trying to present energy while I'm in front of the camera, so in that way things are very, very interesting. If this is more within your wheelhouse, where I get to keep the microphone all close to my mouth and I don't have to be super duper energetic for you, I can just be nice and chill. If this is more soothing for you, you might really enjoy this segment versus my vlogs. And that's kind of what I want to bring to this channel, is a bit of variety. You know, if you want to see some vlogs, if you want to see stuff filmed, there's content on this channel catering to that. If you want to just pop something on, listen to it, listen to someone talk, maybe it'll help you maintain focus, maybe it'll distract you, maybe it'll even comfort you a little bit, make you feel like you have someone talking to you, then this segment might be for you versus, you know, someone being on camera. Like, maybe you don't care to see a person on camera, maybe you just want to feel like, I don't know, like you're on a phone call or something, then this is for you. Now, the third form of content I might try to introduce to is live streaming. So I don't know when I'm gonna do that, I don't know how I'm gonna do that, I'm not even sure if I'm going to, but if I do get around to it, that might be a third form. It's just I would have to make sure I'm not feeling nervous day of to do so. I gotta actually feel hyped and up for it. So I think in some point in the near future I might introduce Twitch. I thought about streaming on YouTube, but I might roll with Twitch for the time being, unless I feel not as keen towards it. But only time will tell on that one. For now, it's not going to make much of a difference between Twitch and YouTube, but we'll see as the ball rolls. Anyways, enough talking you guys' ears off. Hopefully you guys enjoy the new segment. Hopefully you guys have a full understanding of where I've been, what's the future ideas, and in the meantime, for sure, bear with me. I'll try to do whatever I can to push out content. I can't guarantee that it'll be a major rollout, but I'm going to try to do a little bit here and there as time goes on, so in that way it at least gives you guys something. Anyways, this is Life Through a Lens, signing out.